Hey, it's the podcast guy.
Sutton United Talk Time on podcast. It's the Sutton Podcast.
And there it is! Sutton United at the GM Vauxhall Conference have put out First Division Coventry City, winners of the FA Cup themselves less than 2 years ago. And what a moment to enjoy for the fans of this Surrey side. They've had their moments before, but never one like this.
But the whistle goes down. Delight for Sutton United. Sutton United from the National League are through to the last 16 of the FA Cup. No longer English football's perennial non-league club. A 123-year crescendo reaches a new peak for Sutton United, who are promoted to the Football League for the first time.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Sutton United Talk Time on podcast. It's the Sutton Podcast in association with Lucky Star Gin. I'm your host Mike, and with me today we have Jenny. In this episode, we're going to discuss the 1-1 loss at Solihull and look forward to the away trip at Maidenhead. You're frowning because everyone feels like it's a loss. Everyone thinks it's a loss. It was a draw, but everyone's moaning like it's a loss. We love hearing from you, and join the conversation. Tag us at Sutton Podcast on social medias, share, likes, all the other stuff that we love. Now, Jenny, it's been a while since you were on. I know how you are, but let everyone know how you've been for I don't know, I can't remember the last time you were on, but let everyone know how you've been.
I should have been on when we played Halifax in November and it was cancelled. Okay. But I was already in Halifax in the snow. Great. Anyway, and I couldn't make the return match. I had a dental appointment the next day, so anyway. But apart from that, everything is fine because I'm retired. You should know. Retirement life is wonderful life. I highly recommend it. Sorry, all you workers out there.
Yeah, we're paying for that.
No, it's fine. Yeah.
Right. So I set you some homework a couple of hours ago. It wasn't long ago, but you need to remind me. But it's the knowing me, knowing you question. So a little bit more time while the jingle plays. So I kind of I do these questions set in advance. So maybe I planned ahead. I doubt it. But it's a good question because the club asked this earlier as well. Which game from our history would you love to watch again for the first time and why? Theirs was a slightly different version of it, but basically a lot of people have been thinking about Sutton United today because it's the birthday. But which game from our history would you love to watch for the first time again and why?
Well, firstly, let me say, I know there's always someone on here that goes, can I have two? So, because I have been supporting them for a bit of a while, I want to choose one from back in the day, last century, and one from this century. And I was thinking about it, and you know, I'd love to see when we played Hillingdon Borough, which was the match we won before we went on to play Leeds United in 1970. I remember I was standing with my dad where I was thinking about that because the ground has changed, but where the disabled bus, bike shed is, I was standing there with my dad and we played Hillingdon Borough, and because we won it, I was fantastic atmosphere, but for my sins, I can't remember much about it, but I know it was brilliant. And we knew what we'd be getting if we won. Right. So I'd love to see that again. To see that again. And coming up to date, everyone will guess, I would like to see either one of our matches when we beat Swindon Town at Gander Green Lane. Probably the one where the first time, last season, it was fairly easy. They weren't very good. We beat them 3-1. But when we beat them 2-1,
the Valentine's one.
Yeah. Oh, because it was a very late goal. I mean, we equalised quite late, and I'm like, so that one. Yeah, give me that one again.
Yeah, they were winning 1-0 till quite late.
They were. And then we equalised. And in fact, I was sitting, funny enough, which I rarely do, in the grandstand on the right-hand side, if you're looking at the pitch. And Will Randall was sitting just opposite. I think he was Injured. There's a surprise. No, I think he was injured, and I can remember, and I'm like, can't believe it. And he did give me a smile. But yeah, when we beat them the first time 2-1, I've waited forever for that to happen, and we did it. So, but Hillingdon Borough from the 70s, I'll be honest, I know we won, obviously fantastic, but I can't remember that much about it. So I'd love to see it again because it was good. I know it was good.
That Swindon one, because it was Valentine's night, I did sort of say,
Yeah.
"Have you got any plans?" And she was like, "No." And I said, "Oh, great, I'm going to football." And she's like, "Well, I'll come with you." And she was standing there, she was quite sort of like nonplussed at the whole thing. And then we scored late, and then we scored another one. Next thing, she's flipping the V sign, going, "You're not singing anymore." And I was like, Jesus, one match every now and then, and you suddenly turn into a hooligan.
Well, I did actually bring a guy from Swindon with me, who's a Reading supporter. And I said to him, "Do you want to cut?" And he said, "That's my perfect evening." He said, "Because I want to see Swindon lose." He said, "But actually, if Sutton lose, that'd do me just fine as well."
Yeah. Right.
So he said, "I'm going to have a perfect," and of course we won. And he went, "Well, yeah." We said, "I'm slightly happier if you know that you won," because he doesn't like Swindon either.
Who does? I chickened out of this because I was sitting here going, thinking, right, there's loads of games. There's big games like the Coventry game. There's obviously the Wimbledon one. There's the Hartlepool. And I'm like, well, actually, if you're watching it for the first time, you don't have the sort of thing of, I know the results. So I'd still be that bundle of nerves the whole time, the way through anyway. So I'm like, I don't know if there's any of them I'd love to watch again. I mean, the Hartlepool one's big because obviously.
Well, I could have thought, I thought of that. But the thing is, with the, like you said about if you didn't know the result, although I can't remember much of it, I knew that if we won, we'd be playing Leeds United, you see. So
yeah, the same as Wimbledon away.
Yeah.
A few years back, you knew we were going to play Leeds United again. But yeah, let us know your thoughts. Let us know which game you'd love to watch again for the first time, and importantly, why. Club news, there's only one thing to say, really. Again, happy birthday to Sutton United 127 years ago today. We got the cheapest caps we could find, and they were amber and chocolate, and they're still playing in amber and chocolate and still being cheap.
That's why you and me are on, because if we had our ages up, we'd probably be 100 and anyway.
I'm a young step of a man. I have to think every now and then, how old am I?
I'm not.
So on to last night. You were at the game. I was in the bar, and getting it all set up for all the massive crowds. And for quite a long time, there was just me there. And then one person rocked up, and then Nick turned up, and I was like, okay. I mean, I think there was only about 12, but it's a good one. I know there's a few people there, so it's good if you want to watch the away games. They're showing it in the bar. So
can I just ask? We were checking, the phones at some time. That there was a problem getting the feed through some of it. Was the
not for me?
Not for you. Oh, perfect. I know on some people's computers they were struggling with the stream coming through, and we were just laughing. We said we should have been here then, shouldn't you?
Yeah, looking at the IT expert here.
Probably, but it was all right. Did you have quite a few people there?
Yeah, there was. I mean, there wasn't as many as the previous one, but it's going to hopefully more will come to the next ones, but we'll see. But what were you thinking about the lineup? I mean, we had a few people back, people not cup-tied, not injured, back from suspension. How were you feeling ahead of the game, and what were your expectations to the game?
Well, ahead of the game. Well, also, can I just add, and I was very proud of this, I'm on, I downloaded that app, Fan Hub.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and you can predict the lineup.
Mm-hmm. And
I got 2 wrong. So I got 9 out of the 11. I'm like, woo. I can't. I had. I had Sidu in. Well, I would, wouldn't I? And obviously he was a sub, so that blew that out of the water. No, but so I expected those people that could come back, who'd like had a ban through bookings to be playing again. My expectations, because we were so, funnily enough, because we were so near in the league, irrelevant of how many who lost how many beforehand, that I thought it probably would be a fairly even match. But as always, my expectations were that we would win. I have to say, I always expect us to win.
I expect us to lose. I hope we win.
Oh no, I don't know. I expect us to win. I get over whatever the problem was Saturday or whatever, by the time I'm back to the next match, it's like, this is where the bounce back, you know what I mean? They always say if you've lost a match, managers will say, we want to get straight back out on the pitch, and we've got a Tuesday match here. So I thought, they're going out there, they want to get it out of their system.
Yeah. I mean, we get out of the system. We did quite well very early on.
We did. Don't we always?
Vaz scoring his fourth, fifth of the season. I think it was Dillon who had crossed that in for him. How are you feeling at this point, and what did you think about the goal? Was that in front of you guys, or were you all spread around it last night?
No. Well, I mean, that could be one of my things later, but I can add it as well. Yeah, no segregation. Oh, bliss. It was like really going back in time. No, what a club. Yeah. No, so I sort of sat in the sides to start with, but then I went behind the goal, which was great because, saw it. Dillon, I'm going to say it early and I'll say it again, but him or Vaz, but my man of the match, Dillon, as far as I was concerned, and I can explain little bits later why. But went down the wing, sort of got it across to Vaz. And I mean, if even looking back on the highlights, when I was there, I wouldn't say it was lucky to go in, but it went through. Maybe the goalkeeper was a bit unsighted. It was sort of weird. It was not an untidy goal. It was brilliant, but I was surprised. I was surprised when it actually got through and it went in the net. I thought, brilliant. No, good for him. Excellent.
Yeah, I mean,
good start.
You can, this is going to jump around now. I'm not doing it blow by blow anymore, but what did you think of Dillon? I mean, you already hinted at what you thought of Dillon's performance, and I think JR also said last night, best performance in a Sutton shirt.
I think he's getting back to his best. I'm glad he started because I know he's been coming on as sub on thing. And in a sense, when he started going down the wing, giving their defenders a nightmare, and he was getting past them and crossing. I don't know. I felt like I noticed after they'd equalised, it was. And some of the time it's as if he wasn't taking people on again. And I know in the second half we were sitting down the side that we were. I didn't go behind the goal, and he was coming down where we were, our wing, and all the time we're going, "Go on, Dillon, take him on," and he did. He started to again, and he was beating them, and that's why. So I don't know, not be rude, but I don't know whether their goal. Not the stuffing out, but I can always remember something Josh Coley said was that from last season is they sometimes know what to do, but they get nervous that it's going to go wrong. I don't know if you can remember something, and I've always remembered that. And because that goal went in and it was a sloppy goal, really. I just wonder, they're all human, whether it's like, oh, I don't know if I don't get past him and he wins the ball. It's all a mental thing.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've always remember what Josh said about that because you can nearly see that happening.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
When
his confidence is there. No, and I thought, he was beating the man's down. And there's one little thing I just wish, and I think it was about 80 minutes. I got this guy's name. It was double-barreled. His name was the Solihull player, Reece Hall Johnson, got booked because
quite late.
Dillon had passed him again and he brought him down. Oh, if only he'd been booked a bit earlier, because that would have we could have had a field day, because he would have then been wary of fouling him again because he would have been sent off. But. Yeah, Dillon had his number and that's why he fouled him so many times. And he got a card in the end. But Dillon was good, and I think it's to do with confidence. And I love his new hairstyle, and I told him that. So but no, for me, I know that a lot of people went for Vaz. I had a quick look at that, but for me, it was Dillon. The way he was going down that wing, beating them. No
Yeah, a
problem.
lot of people go for the goal scorer on these things anyway.
Yeah.
But we'll stick with that for a minute before we start talking about the goal that we conceded. He had a fairly good penalty shout as well. Now, there's been comments on the referee's performance.
Yeah.
Francis even mentioned we were playing against 12 men. Now,
Francis, if
that
she's
must have been
saying that,
bad.
it is. I
Did
got
it-
comments about the referees as well. Yeah.
Yeah, did it feel like that there that the
Um,
referee was inconsistent and slightly home biased?
Well, one of the things that did annoy me very much, and I thought it was so noticeable, and it's partly how we play, and there's a bit I would love to say about that. I've got my own views on it. Many times when we had free kicks, we wanted to take them quick,
Yeah,
and the referee wouldn't let us. I don't know if you noticed it. I mean, it was very noticeable because we could hear him and he was going, no, wait, right. And many of the time the lads put the ball down, ready to kick it there, and he would stand in front of them or he'd bring the ball back. And I would say that was probably 90% of the time. That meant that Solihull, they got their defence back, they got all sorted. And I'm like, there was occasion where the ball was okay, it was rolling. Yeah, fine, bring it back. It was in the wrong place. But there were times where he'd given a foul, the lads put the ball down, went to kick it, and he stood in front of me, no, wait. And I'm like, what are you doing? That's not on. And he did that nearly most of the time when we had free kicks. I don't know if that came across on the live feed, but yeah, I was really starting to wind me up.
I can imagine.
He didn't. He wasn't brilliant. I must admit, he wasn't brilliant. The same thing, when Dillon was getting fouled and he got blocked at one point, nothing, and yet one of them went down as if he'd been shot. Yeah,
there was a couple
it was
of
not
occasions
consistent.
where a couple of their players went down, and the moment the yellow card came out for our player, they got and ran off, and it's like,
they got up. There was one,
Yeah,
and we're like, oh yeah, look, you're not even limping.
Yeah. I mean that's shocking. But did you think it was a penalty? I know the replay's gone out. I looked and think that would be definitely one of the ones that you'd hate to be given away. But it's for us, it's an absolute stonewall penalty.
It is, but I don't know. I didn't look that up, but I don't know how many penalties we've had this season, but not many. I
don't know.
No, but we've not. I know we've had penalty shootouts with the cup and that, but
yeah.
Apart from that, I can't count them on one hand. I don't think.
No.
And sometimes when you see stuff on, even looking at the EFL games, on ITV3 or whatever it is, you see them go and you think, and they get a penalty and think, God, we've had worse than that. So I don't know. People don't. I don't know what it is. We don't seem to get penalties. Seem to get penalties. Simple as that.
Let's go through their goal.
Do we have to?
I mean, the defense was quite good. The defense marshalled well, played well, but it seemed that we had a 5-minute brain farts where we've given away a free kick that probably didn't need to give away. Someone didn't pick up.
Yeah. I'd hate to not Finn, because it was Finley, wasn't it?
I think it was Tyler, actually.
Oh, who pulled his shirt?
I think it was Tyler.
Oh, was it? Oh, sorry, Finn. I thought it was we thought it was Finley. I thought, well, that's unusual. But he just pulled him. Now I thought it was a weak free kick for a start. You know, come on. But he pulled his shirt, and that's when it resulted, because they crossed it across, and the guy, they must have switched off, because we were down the other end, but you could see basically he had an open goal to head which way shall instead of heading it at the goalkeeper, which we would have probably done, we could see it, and we went no, and there was no one near him, free header, boom, 1-1, and you're like, no,
it wasn't again being Sutton, we let the ball drop to the person who's in a good scoring form as well. So it's like, couldn't have just dropped it to the worst player. You had to get someone who's likely to score. And we just, I think it was like 2 or 3 individual mistakes in that.
Yeah.
It won't always happen. Sometimes you'll get that where it would be cleared or this wouldn't happen, but it did knock the stuffing a little bit because we seem to work so hard to get a goal, and then the other team make one attack, and they score, and it's like it's got to affect a little.
We seem to not do it all the time. We're not doing it all the time, but lately, I don't know what it is, but it's like, I think it might have even been last season or something. You said something about dogs and that we can't keep a lead. You know, there was some aspect about the players not owning dogs or something because they don't hold their leads or something, you know, and I thought, oh no. But yeah, I think just please, I mean, don't give away silly fouls. Again, near the end, I didn't think they were going to score particularly. It was more, don't give away a silly foul. Do you know what I mean? I don't think they were ever going to score from a normal play position. But I'm like, please don't foul. Please don't foul. Please don't give because that's what we do.
Well, the next thing I wanted to say is about the late on part of the game. The fitness and the intensity didn't drop.
Yeah.
I know we didn't win. I do know that. But we were kept going forward, and we probably looked the most likely to score. And there was an occasion where, love him, but when the ball drops in the edge of the penalty area and you've got a midfielder running onto it, you want that to be Simper.
Yeah. We missed chances. We could have won that. We missed chances. We're like,
Jack had a chance. Finley had a chance.
Yeah.
So the midfield seemed to be ticking over very, very nicely.
Yeah.
What did you think of that? And how do you think Jayden's going to fit back into this side? I know he's away, but he's back training now.
Yeah. I mean, I'd put him. He was one of the ones I'd put in. And I mean, it was very noticeable. I was saying to him last night, "Oh, Siju's not come on," because often, it gets to a certain point. We thought it was funny that Josh went off what we considered earlier. I think it was on 50 minutes, and we're like, "Oh, okay," but I know has been injured. But no, our intensity, although our fitness levels didn't drop. But what I noticed about their play and what I noticed about ours, and I know you picked this up, but I have to say there were times in that second half, there was often when they got the ball, literally within 3 passes, they were down our end, but also if they picked the ball up in the middle, they just went for it. Everyone went for it. And there were times in the second half where there looked to be gaps in the middle of the pitch when we had the ball and we were passing. Now, I'm not knocking this because I know what you say, but we were passing it side to side. And when they did get the ball in the middle, I know I was shouting something. We were going, go on, run with it. Go on, go. Because they were doing that to us. And there was a time, I understand a bit about start again. But no one, the times we did push through the middle because they're backtracking. Then we had some chance, we would get, but there were times and there was like 5 minutes left. And I honestly thought we could get the goal where, come on, guys. And we were slow at passing it. They all went back and set up. So we had no chance. And I thought but I know that's Steve's way and I understand that. But if they're going to do that, be a little bit sharper, be a bit quicker.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying.
Yeah. We'll jump to that. Actually, Steve did say afterwards that he enjoyed watching it. He said, "Obviously, it's not the result we wanted, but that's the kind of football we played. How I want to play."
Yeah,
more or less. I didn't say exactly that. Despite the frustration, because I've said in the past to some of them that, as a fan, you just want to get that ball away from our goal as quickly as possible and near their goal. So we don't necessarily notice all that ball recycling and retention and stuff because we're just like, get it up there.
Yeah, get it up. Yeah.
Get it in the mixer. Come on. But are you kind of noticing it a bit more now that we are keeping that possession when we do? Obviously, sometimes we give it away silly. But when we are keeping it, are you sort of going, okay, this is part of the plan?
Oh, absolutely. Ever since you told me what that style of playing, that part of the plan, I can understand it. If they're going to do that with teams, there were times last night where we could say, okay, it'd gone back in the passing, but it was put your foot on it. They were like, put your foot on it. Look, and it just gave Solihull, they packed everyone, they parked the bus, if you like. And there was like, when they had the ball, I'm like, right, quick, over there. Look, he's clicked. Do you know what I mean? Okay, I'm not playing, but
no,
a little bit sharper. But I remember saying that to someone. I won't say who, but you may guess. At a match, and he said, "Don't get frustrated with that." He said, because if they were sharper and doing it like that, he said they wouldn't be in the National League. That's why they're National League players.
Yeah, true.
No, he said that they're not Premier League players.
No,
so
exactly. It's the speed. But you've mentioned,
and that's not deriding them at all.
No, of course.
No, damn
better than I could ever do.
I can see why they're doing what they're doing.
Yeah,
it's just it gave the other side, especially when there's 5 minutes left and you've had lots of chances, and they were backing off.
Yeah,
when you've got that ball, instead of passing it forward, maybe take it forward yourself. I don't know, maybe it's always keep passing it back to back until you see a gap. But the gap was in front. Do you know what I mean? It's like, forage forward. Please have a go, because we did at times. But, that keeping passing at the back, I know they're trying to set up again. But when you've not got long left, to me, sling it in, have a go, sling it in.
Funny enough, the note I have to say next is promising display, frustrating result. That's why I said at the stop the 1-1 loss, because a lot of people are like, we should have got that. Was it 2 points dropped, or is it 1 point on the road to be respected? What do you think? Do you think that was a good point away on a Tuesday night?
Interestingly, it must have been about 3 minutes left, and the dugouts are not that far away from us. But I can remember we missed another chance, and we had them. I mean, if you could, we had them, and it's like, well, and their goalkeeper though, man of the match. Why did he have to have a worldie? He always, and I must admit, it was their goalkeeper that saved them. We should have scored, but what summed it up for me when you say 2 points lost, Steve Morrison was in his area, but he happened to turn around and he was not looking at anyone in particular, but he was looking at the crowd, and I caught his eye, and he just went like that, and I thought, you've summed that up. Do you know what I mean? It's as if he, we were there, we had it all, and it's like. And that's all he did, and he saw me, and I just smiled, and he just smiled and turned around. He probably doesn't realise that he can't remember that, but I can remember. And I said to Ian Stone next to me, I said, "He's got it in one." It was we just the goalkeepers playing a worldie. We're not going to get this.
The team we're playing against have a plan as well. So they're obviously thinking they were on a terrible run. They do not want to lose.
Yeah.
Their goalkeepers had a great game, and our players have just made a few tiny errors here and there.
Nothing major.
It's what it is. But we had about, I think it was like 680 odd, and we had 63 of them. So we had about 10% of the crowd last night.
We had a lot. I was surprised how many we had. Yeah.
Well, I think it was JR again said, I'm not entirely sure that's accurate, because people could just rock up and buy a ticket, and there was no home or away. So it might have been that the 63 were pre-bought, and then other people turned up and bought tickets.
Maybe.
But lots of noise. Good
from
stuff.
Us.
Absolutely, yeah.
Absolutely. I tell you why you couldn't always tell as well, because one of their colours is yellow.
Yeah.
Some of us wearing obviously yellow scarves, and when I was walking through the crowd, I was just about to talk to someone, and I realised he had yellow and blue on his scarf. I thought, no, not one of ours.
We were watching in Roland, not Amber. in Roland's Bar, and
Yeah.
when Vaz scored, some of the people behind the goal were celebrating and some weren't, and we're like,
Yeah.
hang on, is that
It was
their fans,
mixed.
our fans? Who is it? And it was, as you said, no segregation.
Yeah, no, it was mixed, and in fact, there was no. Do you know, it was really nice in some ways, because when we scored, you could see you could see the guys that weren't ours, but there wasn't any, not any nastiness, and that's because you mixed in. It was all right. It was good.
I actually often think that the non-segregated is better, because if people do want to start getting Larry, you always run the risk of getting a smack in the mouth. So people tend, when they got fences, you tend to be a bit braver that you can't get to me.
Yeah, and we had people, they were very loud behind the goals, but there was no. I mean, obviously, when we tackled theirs, and it's, they were shouting more at the referee than us, than the players. They were having a go at the ref just as much as we were. But no, it was great to be non-segregated. Though, honestly, I can't tell you how lovely it was. I think we all enjoyed that.
We're going to do the points of views. I'm not sure if you've heard this one yet. There's not much to go through, and we've covered one of it already, but I'm going to play my lovely new song.
It's time to have your say. What's good, bad, okay? On the pitch or not? We'll talk about the lot. Your thoughts, your views on the latest news. It's your points of views.
Points of views. So we discussed the referee already. That was brought up a couple of times. But there was a little chat on our little group about how medium we are at the moment. And it was 11 games, 11 wins, 11 losses, and we've got a +1 record. So what we're thinking is, if we could have the next 3 games, a win, a loss, and a draw, with a -1, we would be on a perfect 0 at the end of it.
God.
The typical mid-table side. That's what we're aiming for at the moment.
Yeah, well,
Yeah. I mean,
I could go off on a bit of a tangent on that, but it's sort of similar. Well, after Saturday's loss, we've now, I looked it up just to make sure I was right, that we got 13 games left. Right? So, and in my head, in a sense, we're out of I know we got that cup still, fine, right? But basically, apart from that cup, the NL Cup, and I'm not saying this in a negative, but our season's over, right? No, just hold on to that. I don't mean that as a negative, right? But our season because don't go there, anyone. We're not going to get relegated, we don't behave. So we're not. I always listen to the podcasts, as you know, coming down. And yesterday I was listening to your one with, was it Joe? Last, and he was, he was relegation. Get a life, And I'm the same, right? So to me, I was thinking about the match, right? So 13 games. There's nothing really much to play for except to get as high as we can. We're not getting relegated, but right. So now, Steve likes to play a certain way, and he's got a system and a plan. Now, when I see us play as we did, I'm just wondering, with the people we've got, this is now going to be the time I think he will finalise who can play the way I want us to play. And will stay next season. And obviously, I know some have already signed extended contracts, but not Will Davis. But come on, right? So who he sees, they might make little mistakes, but who he sees and sees they can play how I want us to play. Who he sees is still adapting, hasn't quite got that yet, but he knows they'll get there, or he feels that they've got enough there to get there. Who just can't fit in and play that way, right? Not necessarily as obvious, but who just struggles to play in that system that he wants and has, and who will be poached and let. And what I'm saying is, in those last 13 games, I feel that I might be totally wrong here, but he has that time in 13 games to solidify that. Sometimes if you're, might not have that, but I'm sure that's going to be anything. He's got a wonderful big black book, I'm sure. And this is going on, like, for instance, Will Davis, Josh, I hope, may not be with us next season. So he would be thinking already the sort of player he wants who could fit in. But I'm sure there will be players that he feels can't or won't, I don't really like to say won't, play his style. Thinking when at the beginning of the season he's brought them in, right, this is how I want them to play. We've given them lots of time to gel. But if they haven't really started to show that they can adapt and play that way, then, maybe it'd be time to move on.
No, absolutely. I mean,
so that's what I think. The last we got nothing to play for. We won't get relegated, but that's what his. And I was looking last night. Really, I wouldn't name names, right? But I was thinking. Obviously, we'd want Will Davis to stay. We want Josh Coley to stay. And who knows how that's going, because we know the ones that are. But I'm sure when they're looking, it'd be like, do you know, nice. And it's a dog-eat-dog world. Nice guy, but they can't really adapt to what we're trying.
Oh, absolutely.
And
only,
it,
only sort of view, not negative, but opposite view to that is 13 games is a long time. And if he was to start experimenting,
39 points, that is.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure there would be elements of the crowd going nuts that if we're losing or we start going on a losing run, because there's certain people that just have it in for him anyway. But I was looking at this relegation conversation because it does make me laugh. And it's like someone said, "Oh, it's down to single figures now."
Oh, for God's sake!
But it's also down to single figures going upwards. So if you're worried about only being 8-9 points ahead of the relegation zone, then surely you've got to say, well, we can make up those 8 or 9 points to get into the playoff race as well. So I think we are mid-table. I would definitely hope that we finish in the top half of the mid-table, and I want top 10. There's a lot of teams below us who'd have to suddenly drastically improve. Even
I'll name it. Ebbsfleet are down. Well, no. Oh, come on.
Probably.
Points.
But I know there were some bits you wanted to bring up on the good, the bad, and the funny. So we're going to do that right now.
Go on then.
You're dragging something over your microphone, I think.
Oh no, sorry. That my notes. Look, I've made notes. Look, look at that.
Right. What was good about yesterday? Pitch, off the pitch, on the pitch, whatever.
You'll love this because it's food related.
Oh, everyone loves food. I'm gonna have to do a spin-off.
I can't tell you the chicken pie that I had was absolutely. I was going around telling everyone. Was absolutely fantastic. No, honestly, I went back to the guy. It was inside the ground. In fact, when I was last at Solihull Moors, there used to be a chap, I think it's the same one, sells pies. Oh my God. It was absolutely gorgeous. Flaky puff pastry, real chicken that was moist, and I was in heaven.
You can't go around saying the word moist on a podcast. People hate that word. You can't go around saying that.
But the chicken, no, listen, if you watch all these chefy programs, the chicken was moist. It wasn't dry then. All right. No, honestly, chicken pie was fantastic. And if I have to, like certain other people, no segregation. That was the good. That was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant.
So what was bad about the day? If you pick traffic.
No.
Okay.
What was bad, and I will bring it up because and some people know I helped Graham, the kit man. Thank you, Graham. Take the kit into the away dressing room, and the bad was there's a trolley that they've got. We have, and it's like one of those Tesco trolleys that goes the wheels that don't go where you want them to go. and I kept, sorry, Solihull, but I kept banging this trolley into their corridors because they were very narrow. So their corridors are bad. They need to have wider corridors because I kept taking the blue paint off their corridors with our trolley. It's not a Tesco trolley. It's not that type, but it's the wheels where you've got to sort of push it to the right for it to go left. And that was bad. Seriously. Apart from my backache as well.
A bit more guerrilla marketing. Buy a new trolley with Sutton Podcast written all over it.
Oh yeah. No, seriously, because that's what you use to bring all the six trips I had to that dressing room. Wow. I was knackered at the end. So that was the bad.
And what was funny about the day?
What was funny, and this is more funny just for me, for no one else. I espied two guys wearing like tracksuit tops, and one, his badge, it had on it RAF Referees Association. So I immediately went up to him and said, "Oh, you in the RAF, mate?" And he went, "Yeah." And so there were two of them. They were at Bryce Norton. So we pulled up sandbags. We're having a chat to them. I told them, obviously, that I was this very old veteran from the Cold War. But the best thing, and it was hilarious, they said the fourth official is RAF, and he's quite high up. He's about the third highest in the RAF association, the Referees Association. Wow. So I said, "Oh, right, what rank is he?" And they said, "Squadron leader." I went, "You're joking." I didn't get the chance, but you know when they pull the tunnel out, when the players go, if it hadn't have gone so far out, I was going to shout out, "Oi, sir!" and see what reaction. And I had his name. I was just going to go, "Squadron leader Mitchell." Because, as you know, when we went to Epsom and Newell, the referee of that match was RF, and we had a good long chat. We had a good long chat with these two. They were really nice guys. But the fourth official, and I kept my eye on him, he was squadron leader. In fact, his name, Squadron Leader Mitchell. And if he's listening, good on you, sir. There you go. So that was my funny.
Perfect. Well, you brought it up basically earlier that at the moment we are turning games around thick and fast. So Saturday, Tuesday for a little while. And we now have another game. Maidenhead, not so far away for a lot of people, but still outside the M25, so I ain't going.
It's easy on the train.
Yeah, Steve said that. I don't know if I mentioned that. He said it after the other game when he was like, "You don't do away games." I was like, "No, I don't." But they've had quite a few losses. Like, apart from a draw the other day, they've conceded quite a few goals. Worst defensive record in this division.
Oh God!
Leaky, they lack concentration.
That means nothing.
So, how are we going to let them win? No,
we haven't got. It's one of our bogey grounds, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a few. We've been going a long time. We've been going a long time.
Yeah, I know.
So
it doesn't matter that they've let in. They could let in 200 goals, and they could let and we'd be the ones. Solihull, they hadn't won in 9 matches. But you haven't met Sutton yet.
Well, they didn't win against us. But how many goals do we need to be up before you start feeling comfortable?
Oh God, more than one. More than one now. I mean, okay, everyone would say more than one. If I'll be honest, if we scored 3, I know that still it could be 3 or 4-3. I'd like. What I would like is if we score the first goal, and not let in an equaliser in the following half an hour, whatever that may be, and settle back down, then I'll be a bit happier.
We need that. We need that moment after we scored. We need to just go for the throat and get another one.
And we have this intensity in the first half. It's happened quite a few matches. Really go for it. We don't get the chances we have. We don't take them. Okay. I mean, we did last night, first one with Vaz. But we then seem to fall away and don't have that same intensity. I don't know, but I mean, we did yesterday in the second half. We we were, knocking on that door, but their goalkeeper, he did play well. And
I mean,
we
I'm
would have
just
won that.
wondering if, like you were saying earlier, if psychologically we get that goal and they kind of then start going, well, okay, we better not concede another one, rather than going, let's go get another one. And that kind of plays on your mind. You start going a bit more defensive and worried about making mistakes.
Well, I must admit now, and I do. When Josh was speaking to you before the season, was it, or when he had a good conversation?
Yeah.
And he sort of, we've got to remember that these guys, they're not robots, and like supporters, like we go 1-0 up, and then there's like supporters are going, oh God, don't foul, don't get. Well, when they're playing, you do you know what I mean? Does it not cross them? They're human. Why shouldn't it cross them? That
Well, would you? I mean, I don't know how to word this, but
get Steve Salas in. He needs to do a little bit of work on their mental,
If we conceded a goal after scoring, and you could see it's because we were hit on the break because we were attacking, would you kind of go, that's the way it falls sometimes? I would rather that than kind of see us setting back a little bit and almost inviting the pressure on. Because if we get hit on the break going for the second, oh, okay, we took a chance and it didn't fall our way. Would you be happy with that? Or would you just go, no, just keep it tidy for that half an hour that you said?
No, I think the best form of defence is attack. I remember very much, and it wasn't that long ago when we played Gateshead and we were losing, where we came out that second half and we scored 2 reasonably quick goals. Now, it was basically the same players, and it was only 3 weeks ago, less than that, 2 weeks ago. And what I'm saying is there was something in them when after they scored the first one, they didn't, they and then they scored the next, and then they scored again. I don't know. I think it's because Josh really opened up things, and I know they're not all like him, but he said, you don't want to do something, after a while, you don't want to do a pass that really you should do, and but in case you get it wrong. I don't think they're in that mindset at the moment, but. For instance, when we've scored and the other team are going down and it's close, it's like, don't give away a foul. Oh shit, they've given away a foul. You know what I mean? I'm sure it's not all mental, but there must be a little bit there.
No,
must.
One of the things, because I spoke to Tyler Saturday, just gone, and one of the things I sort of said is, obviously you've been at some fairly big clubs, big fan base. We're not such a big fan base. Is it more difficult when it's more personal? And he was like, yeah, you can really recognize the same faces week in, week out, and criticism or praise really does hit home because you kind of know that person. Even if you don't talk to them, you see the same people sitting in the same spots, home and away and stuff. So yeah, I mean, it is hard, and it's one of those things that obviously, I mean, it would be boring to go to football and watch them win every week. You'd love it for a few months, but eventually you'd be like, where's the jeopardy?
Ask that to Man City fans.
Oh yeah, but they're not doing it anymore.
No. So they'd rather anyway. Yeah, I agree with you. No,
but
get bored.
How do you see the match going?
What, Saturday?
And I'm gonna ask you for a prediction as well.
Right. I think it's a bit like, people say it's a work in progress, and they're not there yet. And I still believe every match I go to that's going to be the match where they give someone a real hammering, where it all starts to connect. So that's what not every goalkeeper in every team's going to have worldies, and those chances are going to go in at some point. Those chances are going to go in. I'm not going too mad, but I would go for 3-0 on Saturday.
Whoa.
I know.
When you start going, someone's going to get a hammering. I thought, she's going big here.
No. That's a hammering at the moment.
Territory.
No, we're gonna wait till we meet Boston.
All right, I'm going to go 4-1 to us.
Oh, yeah.
So same winning score, but
yeah,
we
3. But you wait, and it might not be so. But we are honestly with what we got with Dillon going down that wing and beating them, and that they don't like it. And I mean, he got a free kick just outside the penalty box, didn't he? I think second half, and I thought, oh, another 2 paces, and they'd have had to, yeah. But then I said, oh no, Sidhu's not on, so it's all right. Don't do it.
Right.
But yeah, no, I'll go for 3-0. But honestly, one day you mark my words and say, yeah, remember she said that. We are going to give someone a real tonking because they're not there yet, and it gives 13 games. It gives Steve Morrison a chance to see what he wants to do for next season, and there's no pressure on they have to win X, Y, Z, and then get in the playoffs. That's what I'm saying. That we haven't got that pressure. They haven't got the pressure of we need to win another 5 matches, else we're going to get relegated. We've not got any pressure, so they can go out, they can enjoy themselves. You can see the ones that can play to what he wants them to do, and the ones that he thinks, no, you're not going to get there. Yep. So I'm and one of them matches, we're going to give him a tonking.
Good. Right. Well, I've gone 4-1. But I'm going to wrap up. So we've wrapped up this episode of Sutton Podcast. As always, we appreciate the ear attention and feedback. Get involved in Know Me, Know You. Which game would you love to watch again for the first time and why? Don't forget to follow, like, share this episode at Sutton Podcast on your socials. Give me the thumbs up on YouTube. I do love that. We'll be back on Sunday after the Maidenhead match with Mark and Johnny, I'm pretty sure. But as always, thank you to our sponsors, Lucky Star Gin. Big thank you today for yourself, Jenny, and all your thoughts. And thanks to everyone for listening. Hope you've enjoyed this episode. Take care, and we'll catch up soon. Bye-bye.
United! 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 United!